The saloon door swung open with a sound like it had been kicked from inside. She stumbled out, boots barely catching the step. Laughter followed her, cruel and loose. Someone shouted something about wild blood and should have kept your legs shut. Then a glass shattered against the doorframe behind her. She didn't turn. She stepped off the boardwalk slowly, one hand across her belly, the other gripping the side rail like she meant to rip it off. Her lip was split. Her hair stuck to her cheek with blood and sweat. The sun caught her just right, painting her not as pitiful, but dangerous. She limped to the edge of the street and dropped into the chair someone had left out. It rocked. Back, forth. No wind, no weight. It just moved like it didn't want to stop. She spat in the dust, wiped her mouth with the back of her hand, let her head fall back until she could feel the crack in the sky behind her eyes. Across the street, a porch creaked. The rancher's daughter sat there, elbows on knees, chin in hand, eyes sharp. "Chair don't like you," the girl said. The woman opened one eye. "Then it can get in line." The girl didn't smile. "You bleedin'." "I'm aware." "You fall?" "No." "You push him first." "No?" "Are you sober?" The woman looked at her, long. "Who are you to ask that?" "Girl who owns that chair. It's broken." "It broke before you touched it." "Then why's it rockin'?" "Could be you." "It ain't." Silence pulled tight. The girl stood, stepped down from the porch barefoot, arms folded across her chest like armor. "You got a name?" "No." "You lyin'?" "Yes." "You gonna tell it?" "No." The girl kept walking until she stood just behind the chair. The woman didn't move. "You're pregnant." "You observant." "You runnin'?" The woman didn't answer. The girl sat down on the edge of the porch step. "I heard what they said." "They always say it." "That you're too wild." "Too much for 'em, you mean?" "They say you bite." "Only when cornered." "They say the child's a curse." The woman leaned forward. "They would know about curses." The chair rocked again, harder. The girl flinched. "You do that?" "No." "Then what?" "Chairs curse too, maybe." "That's Pa's old one." "Then I believe it." The girl looked like she might laugh. Didn't. "He died in it." Explains the twitch. My heart stopped mid-smoke. Rocked 20 minutes after. "Y'all leave it out here for fun." "No one wanted to touch it." "Smart." "You touched it." "I sat." "Still counts." The wind picked up. The girl didn't blink. The woman rubbed her wrist. "I ain't staying," she said. "I didn't ask." The woman's fingers dug into her knee. "They want me gone." "No." "They'll try again." "I know." "You scared of 'em?" "No." "Then you're dumb." "Maybe." The girl stood again. I looked at the street. No one out now. Just dust and old boards. "I got a porch." "So?" "You can sit there instead." "Why?" "Chair don't rock." "That's all?" The girl shrugged. "And I'm tired of listening to him talk." The woman didn't move. Her legs ached. Her back screamed. The baby shifted hard against her ribs. She said, "You ain't scared of me." "No." "You think I'm cursed?" "No." "You think the baby is?" "I think you look like you need water." "That's not an answer." "It's all you're getting." The woman stared at her, then stood slow, like her spine was glass. The chair rocked again without her. "Still moving," she said. "It always does," the girl replied. They walked across the street together, slow. She held her belly like it was glass. The girl didn't touch her, just walked beside her. The porch groaned under their weight. The woman sat on the top step. The girl stayed standing. "You gonna ask who the father is?" "No." "You want to know?" "No." "You sure?" "Yes." The woman stared at her. "Why not?" "Not my child. Not my business." "You talk like you're grown." "I am." "How old?" 16. "That ain't grown." "Didn't ask permission." The woman chuckled once, then winced. The girl handed her a cup of water. "You bleed much." "Not since I sat." "Then stay sat." "I don't stay anywhere long." "You will now." "Who?" "Me." The woman took the water, drank slowly. I watched the chair across the street rock all by itself. She said, "That chair's going to keep moving till someone burns it." The girl said, "Then we don't burn it." "Why not?" "Some things don't want peace." The woman's eyes stayed on the street. The town had gone quiet. She asked, "What's your name?" The girl replied, "You first." Cass. Short for something? It doesn't matter. I'm June. Like the month? Number like the storm. Cass nodded once. That tracks. The porch didn't move. The chair across the street rocked without rhythm. Neither spoke again. Not for a long time. The porch was cold beneath June's feet. Dew hadn't burned off yet. Across the street, the chair rocked. Cass sat in it again, elbows on knees, belly low. A man passed, tipped his hat without meeting her eye. Another crossed himself. The baker's wife shut her shutters. June stepped off the porch. "You're early," Cass muttered. "You're still here. I don't make plans." "Have you eaten yet?" Cass didn't answer. June stopped a foot from her. "Are you going to answer anything today?" Cass shifted. "Depends. Who's asking?" "Girl who gave you water." "I didn't ask for it." "You drank it." Cass looked up. "Are you always this pushy?" "Yes." "You like being a thorn." "Number I like answers." Cass smirked. "Then you're going to hate me." June sat on the stoop beside her, close enough to smell dried blood and sweat. "Do you sleep at all?" Cass shrugged. "Hard with a belly full of elbows." June pointed at the bruise on her jaw. "You still ain't cleaned that." "I ain't dead, am I?" June stared. "How do you measure things?" "It's how I survive." June leaned back on her palms. "They say you stabbed a preacher once." Cass didn't blink. "He tried to lay hands." "They say you burned a post office." "Wrong. I burned a man's coat. He was wearing it, though." "They say the baby ain't got no daddy." Cass turned her head. "Don't call him that." June didn't flinch. "What then?" "He made a mistake and let me stay too long." June nodded like she already knew. "They say you were born mean." "I was born poor. The meaning came after." June glanced at the rocking chair. "You gonna sit in that thing forever?" "It's the only thing that doesn't talk back." June smiled faintly. "I will talk back." "You do." They watched the dust shift across the road. June broke the silence. "Have you ever killed someone?" Cass didn't answer right away. Then, "Not on purpose. But you'd do it." "If I had to." "You think you'll have to?" Cass's voice dropped. "Girl, when folks stare at your belly like it's a curse, you learn fast that have to comes quick." June said nothing for a while. Then, softly, "Have you ever lost a child?" Cass's throat twitched. "Why would you ask that?" "'Cause you act like you already buried one. I act like I have no use for softness." "That ain't what I said." Cass didn't reply. Her hands gripped the chair arms, white-knuckled. June kept her gaze steady. "Was it a girl?" Cass's voice cracked. "Don't. Boy. Don't call me Mama," Cass said slowly. "I didn't." "You were about to." June waited. "You want to hit me?" "No." "Then why do you look like that?" Cass's lip curled. "You keep picking at scabs." "Then bleed." "I already did." June stood. "Then bleed again." Cass looked up. Her eyes weren't red, just dry, like someone who ran out of crying years ago. "You don't know me," she said. "I know you don't sleep. That doesn't mean you know me." "I know you shake when someone says baby." Cass hissed. "Shut up." "I know you sat in that chair like you wanted it to kill you." I said shut up. "And I know you didn't leave town last night when you could have." Cass stood too fast. The chair tipped, rocked harder. She pointed at June. "What is this? Some kind of salvation game?" "No." "You trying to fix me?" "No." "Then why the hell?" June stepped forward. "Because you're still here." "That doesn't mean nothing." "It means everything." Cass backed up. One step. Two. Belly pressed tight against her spine. "I can't be what you want," she whispered. "I didn't ask you to be anything." "You think I'm good?" "No." "You think I'm worth saving?" "Also no." Cass blinked. June added, "I think you're fired. I think you burn. I think that scares people who ain't never held heat." Cass's breath caught. "You talk like an old woman." "I was raised by one." They stared. The wind kicked up again. Dust scattered. Loose papers, too. Cass said, "I could run now." "You could." "Would you chase me?" "No." "You'd let me go." June shrugged. "Maybe I'd just follow far enough to see where you went." Cass smiled without showing teeth. "You're something, kid." "I know." Cass bent, picked up the chair, set it upright. Saturday. It rocked. June sat beside her again, not touching, just there. "You ever wonder," Cass muttered, Why do some folks stay alive when they don't want to? June said. Because something else does. Cass looked over. Like what? June nodded toward her belly. Maybe that. Cass stared down. Her hand drifted across the curve of herself like it didn't belong to her. Maybe, she whispered. The chair kept rocking. The girl didn't move. The woman didn't run. And the town, for once, stayed quiet. The sun dropped low, gold bleeding into rust. Cass sat on the porch step again, arms draped over her knees. Her face was still, but her fingers twitched like something was trying to crawl out. June leaned against the post beside her, chewing on a twig, eyes half-lidded. You always sit that straight, Cass muttered. June didn't look over. You always lean like your bones gave up. They did. That's your excuse. That's my truth. Footsteps clicked across the hard-packed road. Not boots, not dragging, not local. The kind of walk that meant law. Cass didn't turn. She felt it in the base of her neck before the man even cleared the fence. June stood first. He stepped into the edge of the light. The hat shadowed half his face. Badge pinned over his chest like it wanted to shine. Sheriff. Cass stood slow, hand over her belly, knuckles flexing like she was trying to hold her skin on. The sheriff's voice came easy, lazy. Didn't expect you to linger. Cass didn't answer. You make a habit of squatting where you ain't asked. June stepped forward. She's not squatting. Is she here on your invitation? She's here on her own. He looked her over, head to toe, like a stain. The town's got rules. Cass's voice was thin. Have they changed since I left? You were told not to come back. I was told a lot of things. Some of us meant 'em. June crossed her arms. What exactly's the law say? Law says keep the peace. She hasn't broken it. She brings trouble. She's quiet. She's poison. She's pregnant. The sheriff turned, eyes sharp. Don't talk to me like you know the weight of things. June didn't blink. I know my father's name. The silence cracked. The sheriff's jaw twitched. Your daddy wouldn't want this. You sure? He'd run her out. You sure he's not watching right now? The man shifted, hands loose at his sides. You think that name gives you power? I think it reminds you you're not the biggest man in town. Cass let out a breath like steam from a busted pipe. The sheriff turned back to her. You think hiding behind a child saves you? I ain't hiding. You've been in worse places. We both know that. Cass's face didn't move. Yeah, you made it out. Yeah, don't mistake that for welcome. I never do. You smell like fear. Then stop breathing me in. His eyes narrowed. This town has memories. So do I. June stepped between them. Are you done yet? The sheriff didn't move. This ain't about you. It is now. I ain't gonna say it again. You already did. He turned slightly, weight shifting to his back leg. A sign of leaving, or warning. Cass said softly, Still wear the same boots? He paused. What's it to you? Just wondering how far blood seeps into leather. He stared. You saying something? No. Are you accusing? No. You remember? Always. His mouth curled. You should have bled out in that barn. June's voice cracked through the air. You should have stopped him. The sheriff went still. Cass stepped back. 1 step. 2. Her hand shook, but she shoved it into her coat. He glanced down at her belly, then back to June. You let her stay. You'll regret it. June said nothing. She'll bring ruin. You mark it. She already brought the truth. He spat near the post, missed her boots by an inch. Then he turned, slow, like he wanted them to watch every step he took. They did. Cass didn't breathe until he crossed the street. She whispered, That man used to read scripture over my spine. June didn't look at her. He's afraid now. Cass laughed, short, bitter. Number. He's just remembering how deep he cut. You want to leave? No. You sure? No? They sat again. Porch boards warm from the day. Cass's hands were trembling. June reached out. Didn't touch, just stayed close. Cass muttered, He'll come back. I know. He won't stop. I won't either. Cass turned toward her. Why'd you say your daddy's name? Because I knew it'd make him blink. You knew him? Only as a shadow. Cass's voice cracked. He wasn't like that. No. But he let men like that run free. Yes. Cass looked out into the dark street. The rocking chair hadn't moved. Even the wind felt dead. She whispered, He killed a girl once. I know. She was 16. I know. She screamed, and no one came. I heard. Then I screamed. I know. Cass pressed her palms flat against her knees. And you want me to stay? June nodded. You think I'm safe? No. You think I'm good? No. Cass looked up. Then why? June said, because you didn't flinch. And Cass, for the first time in years, almost did. The screen door slammed behind them. June walked first. Cass followed like her boots were made of stone. The house was small, paint blistered at the edges, porch warped from rain that never asked permission. Inside smelled like iron pans and old fire. The table was set for two. June didn't pause. She's staying the night. Her father looked up from the sink. Worn face, sleeves rolled, jaw tight. She ain't. She is. He wiped his hand slowly. You bringing her here? She walked. Cass didn't speak, didn't take her coat off. The rancher turned to her. Is this your idea? No. You like the feel of other people's homes? No. You plan to sleep here? Not if you snore. June moved to the oven, pulled out the bread pan. Sit. Her father didn't. June placed the loaf on the table, cut into it with a sharp knife, split it clean. The sound echoed. Cass sat down, hands on her lap, her belly pressed close to the table's edge. The rancher stayed standing. What's your name? Cass. That short for something? No. He sat slow. Where are you from? Nowhere that matters. You got people? Not anymore. You got money. Cass smiled, sharp. If I did, you think I'd be here? June set down 3 plates. Eat. They passed the butter, like it weighed more than the truth. The bread was still warm, crust dark, center soft. Cass tore it with her fingers. The rancher used his knife. June sat between them. The rancher spoke low. Are you planning to keep the child? Cass didn't look up. Wasn't aware I had options. Could still leave. I do that every day. Could leave for good. I thought you meant abortion. June's fork stopped. The rancher cleared his throat. I meant you don't have to give birth here. Cass chewed slowly. Where would you prefer I bleed? His hand hit the table. Not loud, but hard. Don't test. Me already did. June said, enough. Cass looked at her. He invited it. The rancher turned to June. You know who she is? Yes. You know what she did? No. You think she'll tell you? She already has. Cass wiped her mouth with her sleeve. You want my sins written out? Wouldn't hurt. All right. She counted on her fingers, lied to a judge, broke a preacher's jaw, burned a ledger, buried a man's dog, left my brother in a well, stole a horse I couldn't ride, gave a girl a blade she didn't use, watched her die anyway. Silence. The rancher leaned forward. Are you proud of that? No. Then why say it? Because I'm tired of pretending quiet means clean. June touched her arm. Just a brush. Nothing else. The woman's voice dropped. You think I'm poisoned? No, June said. Yes, the rancher said. Cass looked between them. Then I'll eat and go. June shook her head. You'll stay. The rancher stood. No, she won't. Then I go too. He froze. June pushed her plate forward. You want me here? Always. Then she stays. Cass whispered, you don't owe me that. June answered, it ain't debt. It's a choice. The rancher sat again, slow. His hand twitched near his knife. He didn't touch it. June handed Cass another piece of bread. Are you still hungry? Cass didn't answer. Just ate. The fire cracked in the stove. The windows fogged. Outside, wind scraped the edges of the walls. The rancher finally said, I buried your mother right out back. I know, June said. She would have hated this. I know that too. She believed in clean homes, good names, and quiet mouths. She died quiet. He winced. Don't say that. She died with her eyes open and no one to close them. Cass reached for the pitcher. Her hand shook. She poured water, drank like her throat was splitting. Then I coughed. Hard. June stood, got her a cloth. Cass pressed it to her mouth. Blood spotted the white. No one spoke. The rancher stared. That from today? No. Then from when? Last year. He hit me wrong. Something cracked. You saw a doctor? Don't trust men who ask me to take my shirt off. He looked at June. Who are you sheltering? June said. This who the world made? Cass let the cloth fall. Her hand brushed June's again. This time she held it, just for a second. The rancher stood. "I'll sleep on the porch." Cass raised an eyebrow. "Afraid I'll slit your throat?" He didn't answer. June cleared the table. Cass whispered, "Thank you." June nodded. "Eat more tomorrow." Cass leaned back in the chair. Her belly rose like a mountain between her ribs and the table. The rancher grabbed his coat and stepped outside. The door clicked behind him. "What say you?" said. "He's not wrong." June replied, "He's not right either." And in the quiet that followed, they both stayed seated, as if the chair itself had chosen not to rock. The scream cracked through the walls before dawn. Not a moan, not a whimper, a jagged, tearing sound like something splitting open. June was out of bed before the second cry came. Feet bare, braid loose, knife in hand. She didn't call out. "I just moved fast." She shoved open the guest room door. Cass lay half-curled on the floor, one arm braced against the bed, the other locked around her belly. Her breath came fast, shallow, her eyes wide, mouth open like the air inside her had caught fire. June dropped to her knees beside her. "What is it?" Cass didn't speak. June reached for her arm. "Is it blood?" "No." "Then what?" Cass grabbed her wrist hard. It moved. June blinked. "The baby?" Cass nodded, eyes wet, not from fear. From something else. "Where?" Cass guided her hand, pressed it to the hard curve of her stomach. Nothing. Then, "Kick." June jerked back. Cass didn't let go. "It kicked," June said. "Yeah." Again, harder. "It's alive," Cass whispered. June didn't speak. Cass's hand clenched tighter. "I wanted it dead." June stared. "I drank things," Cass hissed. "Bit herbs. I took oil. Climbed fences I shouldn't. I starved myself. Got drunk. I tried everything. It wouldn't go." The baby kicked again. June didn't move. Cass looked at her, face twisted. "You gonna judge me now?" "No." "You think I'm a monster?" "No." "I didn't want it." "I know." "I still don't." June said nothing. Cass dropped her head. They all left. Every one of them. June whispered, "Tell me. You really want it?" "Yes." "Fine." Cass pulled herself up, spine against the bed. June helped without asking. Sat beside her on the wood floor. Cass breathed hard. "First was Gabe. Said he loved me. Said he'd name our child after his daddy. It turned out he had a wife 2 towns over." Silence. "Second was Joran. Promised a wedding. Took my money. Left me in a feed house with frostbite." Still silent. "Then there was the preacher." June looked up. Cass's mouth was tight. "Said it was holy what we were doing. Said God put desire in women too. Said if it grew inside me, it was sacred." Her hand shook as she pulled the blanket over her lap. June waited. "I bled for weeks. I thought I was dying. Then one day I stopped, and the belly kept growing." The baby kicked again. Cass spat. "I wanted it gone." June said, "And it stayed." Like a curse. Or a second chance. Cass turned slowly. "Don't you dare." "I'm not saying it's justice. Good. But it might be something else." "Like what?" "Like an answer you didn't ask for." Cass's face cracked. Not softened. Cracked. "An answer?" "Maybe." Cass curled tighter. "You ever feel used so many times you don't even feel anymore?" "Yes." "Have you ever screamed so loud your own voice sounds like someone else's?" "Yes." "Do you ever lie to yourself just to sleep?" "Yes." Cass stared. "Then you know." June didn't blink. "I know." Cass let go of her wrist. Finally, "I'm tired," she said. "I know. I feel like my skin doesn't fit." "That's grief." "I feel like I'm still bleeding inside." "That's a memory." "I feel like if I let this child out, it'll kill what little I have left." June said, "Then we'll make something new." Cass laughed, dry. "What? A home?" "If you want." Cass closed her eyes. "I don't know how." "I do." "You gonna teach me?" I'm just gonna sit here till you figure it out." Silence stretched long. The wind outside rattled the window. The fire downstairs had gone out. June asked, "You want to lie back down?" "No." "You want water?" "No." "You want me to leave?" "No." June stayed. Cass's voice came quiet. "I thought it was a punishment. The baby. For what I did. For what I didn't do. It's not. You don't know." "I do." Cass blinked. "How?" June said, "My mama died bleeding with no one there." Cass sat still. "I was 6. She didn't scream." just looked at me, like she knew I'd carry the silence after. Cass whispered, "You did. Still do. And the child is yours. And you. I'm here." Cass looked down at her belly. The kick had stopped. She placed her hand there. Just one. June stood, helped her up. I walked her to the bed. Cass lay down slowly. "You gonna sleep now?" "No." "But you'll rest." "Yes." June pulled the blanket over her. Cass stared at the ceiling. "You think it's a boy?" "I don't know." "Think it'll look like me?" "Maybe." "I hope it doesn't look like any of them." June whispered, "It won't." Cass closed her eyes. "Stay," she said. June sat on the edge of the bed. "I already am." And neither one moved again for a long, long time. The smell of coffee hit first, bitter and burnt, the kind made in anger. Cass sat at the edge of the bed, barefoot, hair loose. The floor creaked with every shift. She heard the voice before she opened the door. "She's leaving after breakfast." "That's final," June answered, sharp, steady. "No, it's not." Cass stepped into the hallway. They were in the kitchen. The table sat between them like a border. The rancher's hand was flat on the wood. June stood across from him, arms crossed. He didn't raise his voice. He never had to. "I let her eat. I let her sleep. That's more than she's owed. She's not an animal. She's not your problem either. She's in my house." He nodded. "My house." June didn't blink. Number mamas. That landed like a slap. Cass didn't move, didn't speak, just watched. He said, "Don't bring her into this. She built this kitchen with her bare hands. She prayed at this table. She bled on these stairs." His voice dropped. "You don't know what she carried. I know she cried when you touched her." He stood straighter. "Watch your mouth." I watched hers. "June. She never smiled after I turned 10. You remember that? She was sick. She was tired. She was mine." "No," June said, "she was never yours." Cass stepped forward. "I can leave." June turned. "No. It's not worth—" "It is." The rancher looked at Cass. "You broke something in her." "I didn't break anything. She wasn't like this before you." June snapped. "You mean before Mama died?" He faced her again. "You think I didn't grieve? You didn't speak. I worked. You drank. I kept food on the table. You left me alone with silence." His jaw clenched. June didn't stop. "I asked once where she was buried. You said, 'Somewhere close.' I thought it'd comfort you. I was 8. Cass whispered, "Where is she buried?" June said, "No one knows." The rancher looked at the floor. "I marked it." "With what?" "Rocks. They washed away. I didn't think—" "No," June cut in. "You didn't." Cass sat at the table. Slowly, the rancher looked at her. "You think this is your place now?" "No." "Then what is it?" Cass met his gaze. A pause. He scoffed. "A woman like you doesn't pause. You devour." June stepped between them. "She's not the one yelling. I'm not yelling. You are inside." The room felt colder. The rancher pointed at June. "You don't know what it's like to raise a daughter alone. You didn't raise me. I fed you. You fed your guilt." Cass watched his hands. They twitched like he wanted to grab something and didn't know what. "I tried," he said. "You failed." He whispered, "Don't say that. I needed a father. I was one." "No." Silence. Then, low and firm, "You're not my father." Cass flinched. The rancher stared at her. Then in June, his lips parted, then closed again. He walked to the window, looked out. Voice like gravel. "I found her body 3 days after she passed. No one spoke. I sat with her for 6 hours before I dug in. I used my hands. I didn't want to cut the ground." Cass said nothing. He kept going. "I buried her under the cotton tree by the south fence, marked it with rope." June's eyes welled. "That tree was cut down. I didn't know. You let me grow up thinking she was nowhere. I didn't know how to tell you." June's voice shook. "You let me carry that. I carried it too." "No, you drank it." Cass looked between them, slowly stood. "I'll pack." June stopped her. "No. I don't want to be in a war." "You're not. You're just the wound he finally had to see." Cass stared. "What are you fighting for?" June answered, "Me." The rancher turned around. "Then take the house." "I don't want the house." "Then what?" "I want the truth." Cass whispered, Don't we all? The rancher stepped back from the window. She can stay tonight, June said. She stays until she's safe. He didn't argue. Cass sat again. June poured coffee. None of them drank it. The silence held differently now. Not peace, not forgiveness. Just breathe. And the things that finally had names. The sound came before the dust, hooves on hard earth, too steady to be a ranch hand, too slow to be friendly. June was outside splitting kindling when she looked up. Cass watched from the porch, hand across her belly. The rancher stepped out with his coffee, saw the shape on the ridge, and froze mid-sip. The sheriff, same coat, same badge, same eyes that didn't blink enough. June dropped the axe. Cass didn't move. The sheriff dismounted like he'd done it 1,000 times, with control, with a threat in every motion. He didn't tie the reins, just let the horse stand loose, like he knew it wouldn't leave without him. "Though I made myself clear," he said. The rancher set his mug down slowly. "She's a guest." The sheriff looked at Cass. "She's a fuse. She's a woman. She's a mistake." June stepped down from the woodpile. "Say it plain, Sheriff. I am." "Number, say what you mean." He turned to her. "She's not just dangerous. She's cursed." June laughed once. "That's all you've got?" "She walks with death. Has for years." Cass said nothing. The rancher shifted. "You bring in the law or just your mouth?" The sheriff stared at him. "I bring a warning. Next time it won't be that. She ain't done nothing. Yet." June stepped forward. "What is it you're afraid of?" The sheriff didn't flinch. "I've seen what comes from women like her." "Women like who?" "Ones who don't break when they're told to." Cass finally stood. "You mean women like your sister?" The air snapped. He turned slow. "You don't say her name. You already buried it. You shut your mouth. She begged you." He moved fast, hand near his belt. June stepped in between. "No." He stopped inches from her face. "You think your father's name still buys protection?" "No." "Then move." "No." Cass spoke again. She screamed for help. He turned his head but didn't face her. "You weren't there." "I was in the next room." Silence. The rancher moved closer. "Sheriff." "She wasn't right in the head," he said. "She was 16, Cass snapped. "She lied. She died." His hand twitched. "You think you'll live long with that thing inside you?" June said. "It's a child. It's a curse. It's hers." The sheriff stepped back. I looked at the rancher. "You letting your girl decide who lives on your land now?" The rancher hesitated. That pause cracked everything. June's voice dropped. "Say it." He looked at her. "Say what's in your gut," she said. He looked at Cass. "I don't want blood here." Cass's jaw clenched. June shook her head. "You coward. I'm trying to protect this house. Number, you're trying to keep your hands clean. She brings danger. So does silence." The sheriff smiled. "See? It's already working." Cass wrapped both arms around her belly. The child kicked once. Hard. She whispered, "He'll kill me." June didn't look away. "Not while I breathe." The sheriff turned to his horse. "You can burn your house down if you like, but when the flames reach the church, don't expect the town to mourn." He mounted. Cass said, low, "She didn't die easily." He froze. "She clawed the floorboards." He didn't speak. "She left marks I still dream about." He kicked the horse hard. It bolted. The dust rose in his wake, settled like ash. Cass dropped to the steps, chest heaving. The rancher looked pale. June knelt beside Cass. "Breathe." Cass nodded, couldn't speak. The rancher watched them. I watched the empty road. "He won't stop," Cass gasped. "I know," June said. "He'll come back worse." "Then so will we." Cass looked up at her. "Why are you still here?" "Because I've got nothing left to lose." Cass touched her own belly. "I do." June placed her hand over hers. "Then let's make sure you keep it." The rancher turned, walked back into the house without a word. The door didn't slam. It just shut. Behind them, the wind moved the grass like breath. They sat there long after the dust was gone. The smell hit first, sharp, thick, unnatural. Smoke curled under the door before anyone saw the glow. June flung it open and ran barefoot into the dark. The barn lit the edge of the field like a bad memory returning. Flames curled from the roof. Hay crackled. The rancher was already there, throwing buckets, shouting at shadows. Cass stumbled out behind them, wrapped in June's old quilt, coughing, barefoot too. What the hell happened? The rancher turned. You tell me. She backed up. What? You do this? No. Will the sheriff come back? I didn't see. You think this is a coincidence? June grabbed another bucket, tossed it. We don't have time for blame. The fire roared, but didn't move. The loft stayed dark. The beams didn't catch. The flames clawed, licked, but wouldn't climb. The rancher stopped mid-bucket. What in? June stepped back. It's not spreading. Cass stood still, smoke curling around her like it knew her. June whispered, It's like it doesn't want to. Cass laughed once, a dry, broken sound. Fire doesn't want me either. The rancher glared. Is this a joke to you? She didn't answer. He walked past her. You brought this with you. Cass's voice dropped. Maybe. Or maybe it's just always been here. You cursed this place. June snapped. It was rotting before she came. He faced her. What did you say? You heard me. The fire hissed and shrank. The roof groaned but didn't fall. Cass muttered, It won't finish what it starts. What? Like all of them. Heat without follow-through. The rancher stepped forward. You say my land's weak. I'm saying your ghosts are lazy. He grabbed her arm. June stepped between. Let go. She's not innocent. She's not yours to handle. She brought the sheriff. No, Cass said. You did. You brought him the day you said nothing to protect your daughter. His grip loosened. June said, Blame her again, and I'll burn what's left myself. He turned and walked back to the dying barn. Cass sank to the ground. Quilt clutched to her belly. June knelt. Are you burned? No. Breathing okay? Just tired. Baby moved. Cass nodded. Didn't flinch once. June touched her back. That's something. Cass whispered, Why won't the fire take me? Maybe you were already burned. Cass looked at her. Is that supposed to comfort me? No. Then what? It means you survived it. Cass leaned her head on June's shoulder. They watched the fire curl into smoke. The barn stood blackened but whole. The night stayed quiet. Cass followed the fence line past where the boards gave up. Beyond it, only the field and silence. Her boots sank slightly in the wet dirt. The old quilt still draped over her shoulders like a warning. The wind tugged at it, trying to carry it off. She let it. The land dipped near the cotton tree. That's where she saw it. A small grave, low and neat, marked by a loop of frayed rope nailed to the earth. No stone, no date. Just the kind of quiet that clung too close. Cass stopped a few feet from it. Didn't speak. Behind her, grass shifted. June's voice came soft. You found her. Cass didn't turn. Is this it? June nodded. That's all he gave her. No name. No words. Cass walked slowly to the rope. Crouched. I touched it with 2 fingers. He buried her here alone? He told me 3. Days later. Said he used his hands. Why rope? He didn't want the cows stepping on her. Cass blinked. That's love then. It's what was left of it. Cass sat back on her heels. Have you ever brought flowers? No. Why not? She never liked them. Said cut things don't last. Cass looked down at the mound. Is that true? I don't know. Have you ever talked to her? Sometimes. When I can't talk to him. Cass's eyes stayed on the dirt. Do you ever get answers? Number just stillness. Cass reached out and brushed leaves away from the center. Stillness is worse than a lie. I used to think so. Now I think it's the truth that stays too long. Cass ran her palm flat across the soil. It's warm. June knelt beside her. It holds heat. Always has. She died here? In the house. Does she bleed long? June nodded. I heard her. He told me to stay in my room. Cass said nothing. I was 6, June whispered. Cass finally looked at her. You still sound 6 when you say that. June looked down. Sometimes I feel it. Cass shifted, sat cross-legged, her belly pulled against her spine. You ever wonder if she'd hate you for surviving? June's throat worked. Every day. Me too. They sat still. The wind didn't blow here. Cass said, My mama died while I was sleeping. No one told me till after the meal. They let me eat first. June's voice cracked. Why? Because there was no food after. Neither spoke for a long while. June said, Have you ever prayed? Cass scoffed. Not to anything that listens. You want to? Cass didn't answer. She closed her eyes, lowered her head. Her voice came low. If anything's under this dirt that hears me, take note. I don't want peace. I want a memory. I want the hands that hurt me to shake in their sleep. I want every man who walks away to see my face when they close their eyes. And if this child ever knows what I've known, may the world burn before it touches them. June's hand moved without thinking, rested on hers. Cass opened her eyes. You think that cursed it? Number, I think it was named something honest. I'm tired of honesty. Have you always been this sharp? Since men get softer when I scream. June looked at the rope again. She wasn't perfect. Mama. She hit sometimes. She drank sometimes. But she sang when it rained. That's what I remember most. Cass smiled once, small. Mine threw plates when it rained. I learned to duck early. You think there's peace now? Here. Anywhere. No. June nodded. Me neither. Cass leaned over, pressed her palm flat against the mound. She's here. Parts of her. You visit often. As often as I can. Have you ever brought your father? Once. He stayed for 5 minutes. Never said her name. Cass whispered, he is afraid of her. Number just ashamed. That's worse. I know. Cass took a deep breath. I should go. Not yet. What more is there to say? June said, you never called her mama. She wasn't mine. Number, but she could have been. Cass shook her head. I don't know how to belong. You already do. Cass looked at her. Say it again. You belong. To what? To me. Cass blinked. You mean that? I've meant it since the first time you sat in that rocking chair and didn't flinch. Cass laughed. You sure know how to pick 'em. June smiled faintly. I only pick who stays. They sat like that a little longer. Cass finally asked, you got a name for her? June nodded. Delilah. Cass whispered, that fits. They both touched the grave one more time, then stood. The wind picked up again, just enough to lift the rope. Cass looked over. Does that mean something? June nodded. Means she heard. Cass placed her hand over her belly. The child shifted. You feel that? June asked. Yeah. What do you think it means? Cass looked toward the house. Maybe it means I'm not done yet. They turned and walked back, slow, together. No need to speak. The grave stayed behind them, but the silence no longer did. The knock wasn't a knock. It was a fist, fast, repeating. Wood cracked on the fourth hit. June was already moving. Cass came from the back, barefoot, hair wet from washing. The rancher grabbed his rifle off the wall but didn't lift it. The door flew open. Sheriff, gun drawn, breath short, shirt damp, eyes burning like he hadn't slept in days. Cass stopped cold. He stepped in without waiting. The gun didn't waver. June didn't blink. Put it down. No. You come here with steel. You leave in blood. He looked at her. I warned you. She stepped forward. You threatened. He turned to the rancher. This is your house. The man hesitated. It is. You let her stay? Yes. You protect her? I'm protecting my daughter. From what? From you. The gun moved toward Cass. She's the danger. No, June snapped. You are. He faced her again. You want to test me? Cass stepped forward. She doesn't have to. Shut your mouth. Or what? The gun clicked louder. You gonna kill a pregnant woman? I'll call it justice. Then spell it right on my tombstone. The sheriff's face twitched. June moved closer. What do you want? He looked at Cass. She's gone. She's not going. She's poison. She's human. She's filth. She's family. He stepped forward, gun now 2 feet from Cass's chest. Last chance. The rancher raised his rifle finally. You shoot her, you better shoot me too. The sheriff turned. You wouldn't fire. You don't know what I'd do anymore. Cass raised her hand. Everyone stop. They froze. She stepped between the sheriff and the others. Slowly. Deliberate. You want to hurt someone? Hurt me. Right here. Right now. Do it honestly. No talk. No twisting. He didn't lower the gun. You deserve worse. I got worse. You just didn't stay to watch it. His hands shook. She moved closer. You came into my house, sat at my table, prayed over my body, then left like it meant nothing. You were never clean, and you were never kind. You seduced him. He was 30. You corrupted him. He left me bleeding. The sheriff's hand jerked. The gun dipped an inch. Cass kept going. You blame me 'cause it's easier than blaming your blood, he shouted. He was my brother. Cass's voice cracked like glass. He was my rapist. The silence after that word dropped hard. The wind outside died. The world felt still. The gun dropped lower. He looked at her, chest heaving. You think saying that makes it true? I know what he did. You think anyone will believe you now? Number. But I don't need belief. I need you to remember this moment, your badge, your gun, and the fact that you still pointed it at a woman trying to live. The sheriff stepped back once, then again. The badge on his chest loosened. The pin snapped. It fell, landed in the mud near the door. June stepped forward, planted her boot on it, didn't speak, didn't move, just stared at him. He looked at her, at the gun, at the badge under her foot, and didn't speak. The rancher lowered his rifle. You done? The sheriff didn't answer. June's voice came low. You're not welcome here. He backed up. You'll regret this. Not as much as you will. You protecting a liar. We're protecting the truth you're scared of. He turned to leave. Cass said, Next time you bring a gun, bring a conscience too. He paused in the doorway. Then I left. No slamming. No drama. Just retreat. Cass collapsed onto the nearest chair, body trembling. June let her foot off the badge. I picked it up, holed it out to her. Cass took it, turned it over in her hand. Feels light. Means nothing now, June said. The rancher looked at them both. That's over? No, Cass whispered. He'll come back. June nodded. Then we'll be ready. Cass held the badge a moment longer, then dropped it back in the mud. No one picked it up. No one spoke. And in the weight of that silence, something final settled in. The wind didn't return until long after the sheriff was gone. The ranch sat quiet, the kind of quiet that didn't ask questions. Kay stood just inside the doorway, watching dust drift. Kay threw a single beam of light. Her hand still shook. The badge was gone now, somewhere in the grass, buried by the hooves of a coward's horse. June was near the hearth, arms folded, jaw set. The rancher hadn't said a word since the gun left the room. The silence pressed hard. June broke it. Stay. Case didn't turn. Don't. Stay. You don't mean that. I do. I've brought fire, violence, blood, and truth. I've cursed this place. You've lit it up. Cass spun around, face tight. You don't know what I've done. I know enough. I don't belong here. You do now. Why? Because you're still breathing. Cass laughed once, dry. That's not enough. It is for me. Cass walked to the window. You know what happens next. You saw his eyes. I did. He'll burn this house to the ground if he has to. Then we'll build another. You think this is that simple? I think you're running out of excuses. Cass stared out at the pasture. I was never meant to stay anywhere. Then break that. Cass turned to her. Why are you fighting so hard for someone like me? Because someone should have fought for my mama. Silence. June stepped closer. Every night, I sat by her grave and waited for an answer, something, a whisper, a dream. Nothing ever came. But then you did. Loud, bruised, breathing. I'm not her. No. I'm not kind. No. I'm not soft. I didn't ask you to be. Cass whispered, Then what do you want from me? June's voice cracked. I want you to stay. Cass shook her head. I don't know how. Then learn here. Cass looked down. Her hand drifted to her stomach. The child kicked once, then settled. I don't know what kind of mother I'd be. June stepped forward. You already are one. I'm afraid. So is she. I might leave. I'll follow. I might fail. Then fail with us. Cass looked at her. You sure? Yes. Cass took a breath. You won't ask me to be better. I'll ask you to be honest. Even when it hurts. Especially then. Cass touched June's cheek. You're too young to carry this. I was born with it. Cass looked at the door, then the stairs, then the fire. Where would I sleep? In my room. And you. Next to you. Cass laughed, softer this time. You're stubborn. I've had practice. Cass pulled the chair out and sat. All right. June blinked. All right? Cass nodded. But I'm not promising forever. Good. I'm just promising tonight. Then stay. Cass stared into the fire. You sure your daddy won't throw me out? He knows better now. And if he doesn't, I'll remind him. Cass looked at her. And if the town comes, let 'em. And if they take me, they'll have to take me too. Cass's voice cracked. Don't say that unless you mean it. I do. Cass covered her face. I've never stayed anywhere longer than a week. Then make this week 1. I don't have a name for the baby. We'll find one. I might scream in my sleep. I'll hold your hand. Cass looked at her. You don't even know what I've done. June sat beside her. You stayed. Cass closed her eyes. The chair rocked. Not the old one, not the cursed one, just this one. Software slow. For the first time, it didn't feel like running. Cass said, You're sure? June nodded. Completely. And that was the first moment Cass didn't reach for the door. The porch looked the same as the day Cass arrived. Boards weathered, nails rusted, railing chipped at the corner where time leaned hardest. But the air felt different, softer, like the ground finally stopped bracing for blood. Cass eased herself into the rocking chair. It didn't creak right away. It just took her weight. Hold it. Balanced. June sat beside her, not speaking, just watching, the same way she always had, with eyes that didn't beg, didn't demand. I only waited. The sun hung low, lately, too golden to be honest. Cass glanced toward the road. He hasn't come back. No. You think he will? Yes. Cass nodded. Me too. Behind them, the screen door creaked open. The rancher stepped out, coffee in one hand, hat in the other. He didn't speak, didn't clear his throat. Just stood there, watching them. Cass didn't look back. You still have a problem with me? He took a slow sip. Not today. Are you planning to change your mind? Not if you don't give me reason. Cass smirked. You ever think maybe I don't need your permission? He didn't flinch. You wouldn't be sitting here if you did. June leaned forward, elbows on her knees. She belongs now. The rancher didn't argue. Cass looked down at her stomach. The baby was still. For once. No kicks, no flips. Just there. Settled. It feels like it's listening, she said. Maybe it is, June replied. The rancher walked down the steps into the yard. The grass crunched under his boots. Not dry, just tired. Cass tilted her head. Does he always walk like that? Like the weight's catching up? Yeah, only since Mama died. Cass said, You ever forgive him for that? No. You plan to? No. Cass nodded. Good. The chair creaked once, a slow back and forth, then stilled again. I used to think if I ever stopped running, I'd die, Cass whispered. June watched her. You feel dead? No. Do you feel safe? No. Then what? I feel here. June smiled. That's enough. Cass rubbed her belly. You're still going to be here when it comes? I said I would. And if it's hard, I'll stay. If I scream, I'll hold your hand. If I bleed, I'll stop it. Cass's voice cracked. And if I don't make it, June whispered, Don't say that. You need to think about it. No. Cass looked at her. You're too young to carry all this. I've been carrying it since I was 6. Cass reached over. Their hands met. I think you saved me, she said. June didn't blink. I didn't save you. I just stayed. That's the same thing. Cass's voice dropped. I used to sit in rooms like this, in towns like this, and wonder what it would feel like to matter to someone. You matter to me. I don't know what to do with that. Then just sit. Cass leaned back. The chair rocked once, then stopped. The rancher came up the steps again, paused. We need to rebuild the barn. Cass said, I can help. He looked at her. You know how to build? No. Then what'll you do? Lift, hold, stay quiet, whatever you need. He nodded. That's enough. He sat on the far side of the porch, not close, but not far. Cass asked, You ever think about leaving this place? Every day. So why don't you? 'Cause I built it, and I ain't done yet. Cass stared out across the field. Neither am I. June smiled faintly. The sun dipped lower. The light turned red. Cass said, You think it'll be a girl? I hope so. Why? So I can tell her the truth. Cass looked over. What truth? Those broken things still grow. Cass's eyes brimmed but didn't spill. You're not like anyone I've ever known." "Good. Scary good." The rancher stood again. "I'll leave you two to it." June said, "You don't have to." He paused. "I know." He disappeared inside. The door stayed open. Cass watched it. "He's trying." "Try not to erase." "But it counts." "Yeah, it does." Cass rubbed her belly. "You got a name yet?" June raised an eyebrow. "For me?" "For the baby." Cass exhaled. "I was thinking Delilah, for the woman who stayed too quiet, too long." June whispered, "She'd like that." They sat in silence. The wind picked up. The chair shifted once, back and forth. Cass said, "I think I could be a mother here." "You already are." "I think I could be more than what they called me." "You already are." "I think I'm ready to stop running." June whispered, "Then stop." The chair rocked again, slower this time. Cass placed both hands over her belly. The child didn't move, but she swore it was listening. The wind died, the rocking still. For the first time, the chair stopped moving on its own. Cass leaned her head against June's. No words left, no promises, just a decision to stay. And that was enough. They heard the hooves before they saw the dust. June stood first. Cass was slower, her hand on the edge of the railing, her other over her belly. She didn't flinch, didn't step back. She only watched the road stretch forward, empty for days until now. One rider, not the sheriff. Younger, slumped forward. A deputy maybe, or someone sent to warn. The rancher stepped out from the barn, wiping his hands on a rag. He saw the figure, then the woman, and said nothing. Just wait. The rider didn't dismount, just stopped 10 paces from the porch. "He's coming," the boy said. June's voice was dry. "When?" "Tomorrow, maybe tonight." "He is alone?" "No." "How many?" The boy hesitated. 3. Men from town, 1 from the church. Cass stepped forward, eyes narrowing. "What do they want?" The boy swallowed. "They say the baby doesn't belong here. That you bring judgment." Cass laughed, soft. "I always do." The rancher tossed the rag. "You tell 'em this ain't a churchyard." "I already did." "Tell 'em again." "I ain't going back." Cass looked him over. "Then why come at all?" The boy blinked. "I thought you should know." Cass nodded. "You did your part." He turned his horse, didn't say goodbye, just rode slow, as if speed would make the fear worse. June didn't watch him leave. "We have hours." Cass stepped down off the porch. "Where's the shovel?" The rancher pointed toward the barn. "Left wall." June blinked. "You're not leaving?" "No." "You're not hiding?" Cass looked at her. "Not anymore." She crossed the yard, pulled the shovel from its nail, carried it to the south fence like she wasn't heavy, like the baby wasn't riding low and hard inside her ribs. She dug. The rancher came beside her, took the second shovel, said nothing, just dug. June joined them with a pitchfork and salt. No one asked where she got it. By dusk, the trench was dug. Not deep, not wide, just a line between house and road. Cass dropped the badge in, the one she'd pulled from the mud days before. "Why bury it?" June asked. "Because it keeps showing up." June handed her the salt. "Then blind it." Cass poured slowly. The white line cut through the dirt like a scar. When they finished, the wind picked up again. June spoke first. "They won't stop." Cass said, "Then neither will we." The rancher leaned on his shovel. "I got 6 shells." "I got angry," Cass said. "I got a name," June added. They stood there. Not a family. Not quite, but something close enough to matter. The porch behind them didn't creak. Cass looked back. "You think it knows what's coming," June whispered. "It's already seen worse." They walked back together. Cass reached the top step first, paused, rocked the chair once. It didn't move. She sat anyway. They waited.